During the 1970s, it was a turbulent time in Southeast Asia, with ongoing war in Vietnam and Cambodia. Two young missionaries, fresh out of college, arrived in Cambodia to establish new mission work.
We got married, and right after the honeymoon, we came to Phnom Penh, Cambodia, which was our mission field for 5 years, or so we thought. And we set foot on this building, which was supposed to be our honeymoon suite. The first floor was classrooms. Second floor will be more classrooms, plus the church. Then the third floor will be the apartments for the 5 student missionaries that came from America to work here to teach English. So the sign in front will say SDA English Language Institute. On the 4th story, you will see the balcony there, just above the flag. And that's the place we spend a lot of time praying. Because in those years, we had frequent blackouts. We could see during the day F-111 fighter bombers coming from an angle, swooping down and then going up again. And before going up, you could see rockets being fired from the plane. Up and down, up and down. They came in waves. So that was the military campaigns. And then on top, on the 4th floor, many a times we claim Psalm 91. You shall not be afraid of the danger by night, nor the arrow that flies by day. We said, Lord, you have promised we shall not be afraid of the B-52 bombers by day and the rockets that flew by night. You know, the rockets were very dangerous. And so I told my wife, there's nothing to worry about. When you hear the sound, you are okay. And when you don't hear the sound, either you're alive or you're dead. It's just one of those two options. So we depended on the Lord a lot on that 4th floor balcony. And one night, we heard a lot of rocket fires in the city. So we went to the 5th floor and we looked down. Almost the entire outskirts of Phnom Penh was on fire. So we said, this is it, this is it. Whichever direction you look, everywhere was fire. Ho Chi Minh City used to be called Saigon during the time of South Vietnam. It was the capital city of South Vietnam. And this is the city where we were evacuated to the first time. Ralph Watts, the president of Southeast Asia Union, ordered all student missionaries and both of us to get out of the country. Good morning, Pastor Watts. How are you doing?
Good morning, Pastor Watts.
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Great, great.
Fine, thank
We
you.
are right here in Saigon.
Yeah, imagine that.
What a privilege it is to talk to you when we are still in Saigon.
I'm holding in my hand right now, IBNGT, a picture of a very handsome young couple. It was taken in March of 1974, and it's a picture of the two of you with your bicycles in Phnom Penh. You were able to get some Bible studies going, weren't you?
Yeah, many Bible studies came as a result of the ministry of the English Language Institute, and out of that, we baptized many of them. So before we left the country, there were 33 believers in that church.
Oh my. Yeah. And there were virtually none when you came there.
That's right.
Very few. We did a lot of refugee relief work because the population of Phnom Penh in the 1970s was about 700,000. And during the war, when we were here, it was easily more than 2 million people. And so this hotel had become a refugee center where they were housed. We visited some of the rooms, and there were no electricity at that time. So we saw many people crowded in rooms. It was dark, it was filled with smoke. Women, men, children, maybe 15, 17 people in a small room.
They did the best they could, providing refugees bales of clothing and rice. But the situation continued to get worse. GT, Ivy, and the student missionaries were evacuated several times to Vietnam. But each time they returned to Cambodia, only to have conflict resume.
So we had a F-111 bombardment during the day, and during the night it was B-52 fighter bombers. Many a times we would be sleeping, we were shaken out of our bed. It was more than a bad dream. So we just pray to the Lord that even though 1,000 may fall by the side, 10,000 on your right hand, but God will spare our lives for some reason. So after Sabbath was over, as per our usual custom, one of us, either the missionaries or us, would cycle to the central post office about 3 kilometers away to pick up our mail. That evening, one of the student missionaries went and he came back with a bunch of letters plus a telegram. The telegram was sent from Bangkok, and the telegram said, all 5 get out immediately. There were 3 missionaries left, plus 2 of us, so there were 5. So it was sent by the education director of Southeast Asia Union Mission, Pastor Milton Thorman. Milton Thorman was in Bangkok visiting, and he had the impression all day Sabbath that something ought to be done for those missionaries in Phnom Penh. So on his own accord, without committee action from Singapore, he ordered us out. And so on the airport, we had to hide ourselves in bunkers. So we will run from one bunker to the next until we got close enough to the aircraft, then we will run to the aircraft. We landed in Bangkok several hours later. So whenever there was a thunderstorm in Bangkok, we hit the floor, because instinctively, for 2 years, we had trained ourselves to do that.
2 weeks later, the Khmer Rouge marched in and took control of Phnom Penh and Cambodia. Under their brutal regime, an estimated 2 million people died in prisons or in the killing fields.
Oh, this is such a memorable place. Brings back a lot of memories. Many of our believers were killed as a result of their walking experience from Phnom Penh to the border with Thailand or to the border with Vietnam.
That is a sad chapter in the history.
Very sad.
Of not only of the Adventist Church, but it's a sad chapter in the history of society over the last 60, 70 years.
I received this letter from one of our former church members who managed to escape from Phnom Penh. I'm praying day and night, not asking God to grant me any selfish request, but simply pleading with Him that somehow every single member in Cambodia may gather together. What a joy it's going to be, and what a rejoicing it's going to be when Jesus comes again. So we'll be able to see all 33 of our members who were baptized and who remain faithful to Him until the end. And so the church, a new church, emerged from that tragedy. And today we have a strong Cambodian church. We even have a mission with school, with many activities. So we just thank God for that opportunity of serving Him.